how to customize a custom chart. After you've set the source of the chart, chosen the chart type, and then set your chart by and group by values if you've chosen a two-dimensional chart, you're then able to adjust the way the chart looks and its details. Pay attention to the live preview on the left side of the gadget as you're going through and making your updates, as most of your updates will automatically display here. This gives you a chance to see the way your chart is going to look before you click Save and publish the dashboard. To start, we'll look at the Chart By tab. Here, you can make any adjustments to the way the chart by value displays on your chart. Because we've chosen a 2D stacked bar chart, your chart by value, or the assignee, is going to be the vertical bar here. What you're able to do is first reorder segments using this drag and drop button here. You're able to combine segments with this plus sign here. So let's say Edna and Becky are on the same team. You can actually group them into one segment. You can also adjust the name of the segment. Because Becky and Edna are on Team A, we're going to edit the name of this segment to be Team A and hit Enter. You also can hide segments with this eyeball icon here. If you want to bring it back, you can click the eyeball icon again. Those are the main options in your Chart By tab, and you also have them in your Group By tab, which we'll cover next. You also have this Chart By option section at the top where you can make some other minor tweaks. By default, Custom Charts hides any segment that has a 0 count. If you want to show any segments that have a 0 count, you have this toggle here. You can also turn this toggle on to highlight rows in the editor. By default, Custom Charts also will order your segments from largest value to smallest value, but if you do drag and drop, it'll change this to custom order. You also can click into the drop-down and select different options, including alphabetical order and small to big. Moving into the Group By tab, because this is a two-dimensional chart and because it's a 2D stacked bar chart, this tab is going to allow you to customize the horizontal segments within the vertical bar. That's why you see a color picker in your Group By tab. If you were to have picked a regular one-dimensional bar chart, the color picker would appear in your Group By tab because that's a one-dimensional chart. If you want to change the color of your segment, simply click the color picker and use one of the options in the color palette. If you don't see your color here, you can click this sliding scale and drag it until you find the color you'd like. If your company has specific branding or you have a specific hex code for a color, you can always paste it into this box here and it'll align with that color. As I mentioned before, you are going to have the same options that we covered in the Chart By tab, such as hiding segments, grouping them, and reordering them. The next customization that you have are your calculations. By default, Custom Charts measures your data by work item count. If you'd like to change it to measure it in a different way, you have a bunch of options. Custom Charts allows you to take the average or sum of any number or date field in your Jira instance, even if it's a custom field. You also can do a custom calculation. For example, you can add two values together or subtract them. To adjust your calculations, you'll go down here to this count dropdown. If you choose sum or average, you'll get a list of all of the other number and date fields in your Jira instance that you can measure. My team wants to see the average time between work items being created and work items being updated. To adjust this, I can go into this count dropdown here and select average. Then in the story points dropdown, this is where I can select my new value for it to take the average of. You'll see there are a lot of options, but I'm going to take the time between, and it automatically calculates the average of the time between work items being created and updated. You can also take the sum of this if you prefer, and if you'd like, here is where you can go to create your own custom calculations. Some other items you're able to do on your Calculations tab are set goal, trend, or average lines. If you click this here, you're able to take the cumulative total of either your chart by or your group by value if you toggle this on. By default, if an issue is present in more than one segment, custom charts will only include it in the total one time. However, if you'd like to turn this off, you can use this toggle here. Custom charts will also by default calculate the percent of the total count of work items. However, if you'd like to adjust this to be bar counts, or you can group by counts instead, you can use this drop down here. Once you've customized your calculations, the next thing you're able to do is adjust the description and the title of your chart. If you click this Details tab, you'll see you have a box for your chart title and a box for your description. If you enter title here, it puts the title at the top center of the chart. However, if you want to move this around, you can use this drop down here. For example, if you click this to align it left, it moves the title to the left of the chart. You can also add descriptions to your chart. Also by default, the description will show up at the bottom of the chart, but you can move this around with this drop down here. A description isn't required, but it is helpful on charts that maybe have a lot of data that your average user might need a little more context around. When you're writing your description, you have a lot of formatting options that you can look at up here as well. The final tab around adjusting the way your chart looks and its details is this Display Options tab. There's a lot here, so we won't walk through every single one, but we do recommend going through and playing around with each and every setting that shows here. Some popular ones that we often use are Show Horizontal Grid Lines, which is really great if you're trying to do height comparisons on a report. You can also show percent labels above bars if you want your users at a glance to be able to see the percentage that value takes up of the total. Scrolling down into the axis and label settings, you can also adjust the labels on your axes and hide them if you'd like. If your chart has a legend, you're also able to customize the way that looks. For example, you can see the legend right here on this chart has numbers for each segment. If you'd like to hide those numbers on the legend, you can use this toggle, Show Number Column, and it removes them from the legend. The last section is the General section. This encompasses pretty much every other customization option on your charts. For example, you can adjust the way your numbers are formatted, as well as your dates. You can also adjust the way decimal places appear on your chart. For example, if you don't want any decimal points to show when you're calculating an average of something, you can set this to 0 and it will round it to the nearest whole number. You also have some other options around allowing for export, for example, of a report. By default, your users viewing a chart can export the report to a PNG, a PDF, or a CSV file. If you'd like to turn that off, that is a setting that you can do directly in your display options. As a reminder, I didn't cover every customization option in this tab, so be sure to go through on your own and take a look at everything that's possible in custom charts. The final customization that you can do on a custom chart is turn on or off dark mode. If you go to your live preview and click this moon right here, it turns on dark mode. If you click the sun, it puts it back in light mode. Those are all of the customization options that you have directly on a custom chart report. As a note, if you are a Jira admin, you do have access to some other customizations from the admin settings for custom charts. Thanks for watching.